It's some strange shit going on in this house, and I know damn well it is. It's some strange shit going on in this house, and I know damn well it is. There's some strange shit going on in this house, and I know damn well it is. Lord have mercy. I ain't been this nervous since I've been black.
Hey stranger, welcome to High Strangeness, a sad, sexy, spooky anthology with an explicit gaze on the beautiful horrors of black queer life. The story you're about to hear happened to someone, somewhere, maybe to someone like you. They always say the hardest battles are fought within. What happens when one side is punching way above their weight class? Tonight's tale is called Hard by Kendrick Daye. If you had asked Deon, he would tell you he hit the gym at ungodly hours for peace, like he was some monk of Planet Fitness. Please. The truth was, he was just a sweaty little ghost haunting the weights for a peek at some dude whose name he didn't even know. A night or two ago, he dreamt he was in a boxing ring, spotlight hot as hell. Him and his gym crush were locked in a playful tussle, like two boys who definitely wanted to touch, but needed an excuse. Without warning, they had an audience. Thousands of beady-ass eyes, judging, whispering, chanting all of homophobia's greatest hits. And just like that, the tenderness dried up. Deon's love taps had turned into weapons. He pummeled his crush until he was a mess of blood and ligaments. Can you believe that? Someone fighting themselves that hard. Even in his dreams, he couldn't let himself have what he wanted. Even there, the closet door had stayed shut. But that was love to Deon. A hit or a kiss, both meant I see you. And for guys like Deon, being seen was akin to death. Back in the reality of the gym, the crush caught Deon staring, full eye contact, the kind that hollered, "I see you, freak," without even moving his lips. He sauntered past, laughing into his phone like Deon wasn't even there. So Deon did what any self-respecting mess would have done. He grabbed a barbell and tried to outlift his own humiliation. Why else did men lift, except to become a fortress no one else can see into? Before long, the gym was just Deon's grunts and the insect buzz of the overhead lighting. He drifted toward the punching bag, jittery with leftover adrenaline. And then the lights blinked out like candles cupped in a sudden wind. His eyes leapt to the far wall where the switches lived. He crossed the rubber flooring and nudged the switch upward. The fluorescence flared alive again. He took a single step, and they died once more, plunging him back into darkness. He gasped. Something stood in the shadows. Not a man, not quite a specter, a figure shaped in the deepening darkness. He blinked, and the lights buzzed awake again. In the mirror, he saw only himself. Deon shook it off. He drifted back to the bag and let his fists fly. He threw a few punches, then more. Harder each time. Hard enough that his knuckles stung through the wraps. He saw flashes of sweat, skin, his crush from last night's dream flickering like a strobe in his head. His punches got sloppy and desperate. His chest heaved as he gripped the bag to stop it from swaying. His forehead pressed to it as if it were a warm shoulder. Something broke inside him, and he began to sob. Behind him, in the mirror, his reflection remained still as a portrait. clink of a chain made Deon whirl around to see another punching bag swing. His heart rattled in his cage. He looked around for someone, anyone, but in the gym, it was just him and his reflection. He shifted left. So did his reflection. He shifted right. His reflection followed. He faked a sudden turn, and his reflection lagged just enough. Deon's eyes widened. He took a slow step back, all while never taking his eyes off his reflection. Hello? He called out, nervously. His reflection smiled and raised a finger to its lips. Then the thing wearing his face didn't follow. It led. It tilted its head. It studied him with this bored, bitchy curiosity, like it was waiting to see if he would embarrass himself further. The lights flicked off again. The whole gym vanished except for the red exit sign. In the dark, his reflection didn't disappear. It brightened, like it had been waiting for the lights to mind their business this whole time. It started bending its arm backward, and Deon's arm bent with it. His bone popped like a champagne cork. He fell to his knees and screamed a full Jennifer Hudson belt, but it got swallowed by the electric hum. And memories flooded his mind. Flash. Deon and a boy were in the back of the class. Both of them pretended they cared about the work in front of them. They slid a bag of chips under the desk. Their fingers touched, lingered a little too long, and they both grinned like idiots who knew exactly what was happening, but would die before saying it out loud. So Deon did the next best thing. He wrote a note, a whole confessional in childish handwriting. After class, he clutched it like it was a winning lottery ticket and trailed down the hallway. Deon stopped short, though. The boy was leaning into some girl at her locker. He was letting her pull him in by his hoodie strings. She kissed him. He kissed her back. They walked off together with her under his arm, basically screaming, "Silly faggot. Dicks are for chicks." He didn't tell him. He never did. Back in the mirror, the reflection lifted a fist. It punched itself once in the gut, then again and again, and Deon felt every one. Bruises bloomed like ink under his skin. He dropped, and bloody spit hit the mat. And between the punches, he was taking to another memory. Deon was 13. He had his mother's good heels on. Some silly-ass 2000s pop song pumped through the house. He twirled, wild and free across the living room, giggling like someone getting away with something. The door burst open. His father's hands snapped like branches in a gale. "My son ain't gonna be no punk," he berated. A belt cracked through the air. Flesh met leather. And Deon learned that day, being who he was, being what he was, wasn't safe. It was shameful. Back in the gym, Deon's reflection nodded to an invisible beat. It stopped and cocked its head, watching as Deon struggled to crawl to his phone. His reflection splayed its palm. And in turn, Deon howled as his fingers bent backward at every joint. Flash. A seedy hotel room, the type you pay for by the hour. A man who looked nothing like his profile pictures. The funk of poppers and lube. The lights stayed off the whole time. Deon and the man don't speak. He doesn't even get his name, but that didn't matter. What mattered was when he was alone again, Deon sobbed in the shower, the lip quivering, snot running kind. Not for him, and not for the man, but for the self he had always held down, for the love he never allowed himself to touch. That's what mattered. Deon's reflection jumped up and down. and in turn, Deon's body jerked off the floor and slammed back down with a loud thud. His skull cracked on the concrete. His mouth moved, but all that came out was a wet gargle. The reflection yanked Deon's mangled mess of a body into a patch of dark that shouldn't be big enough to hide anything. There was a scraping sound, a grunt, a sharp exhale, then nothing. The air conditioning and the lights snap on just as Deon's reflection stepped back into view alone. The air conditioning and the lights snap on. Deon's reflection stepped back into view alone. It picked up the headphones and the phone. It scrolled for a song, and when it found a suitable one, it pressed play. As the first notes crackled, it wiped its brow and breathed in deep, then casually strolled back to the punching bag. The next night, Deon showed up to the gym earlier than usual, but he wasn't there to work out. He saw his crush, hoodie damp, sweat moving with the same easy rhythm that he had memorized. Deon wiped his hands on his shorts. His pulse was already high. He caught his reflection in the mirror before stepping forward. It stared back at him, maybe rooting for him. And for once, he didn't flinch, although his heart stuttered. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Hey," he said, voice low but sure. His crush looked at him, smiled, and said back, "Hey." And it was stupid. So stupid. But Deon felt something in him soften. Maybe a punch he didn't have to throw. Maybe the first one he wouldn't throw at himself. Wild, he thought. How it took getting dragged by his own damn reflection to realize he didn't have to beat himself bloody just to say hello.